Hello, guys and gals. It's been a while since the upload. Oh boy, upload so Mecha. Ladies and gentlemen, no, I did not in fact die. Okay, I left for a weekend. Now, normally I'm a pretty daily uploader, but usually, in times of the beginning of the year when things are a little slow, I decided that this time I was going to actually not burn out and take a little break, and I went for a weekend away to the good old-fashioned magical world of the United States of America, what might be one of the most based countries in the world. According to my viewer demographic, most of you all live there, so I guess, it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Muda, alright, and I kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a story time, if you will, and I'm not talking like story time YouTuber where like, I got diddled by a lawnmower, okay, like completely outlandish nonsense like that. In all actuality, I had sort of a fun, hellish back and forth trip. The actual vacation was really solid, and the one weekend I managed to leave, Toronto was in like 10-degree weather. The moment I come back, there's a snowstorm out there, and I've already beaten world record in my city for most snow accumulated. It's like negative 11 degrees. My testes froze off, buckos. That's how bad it is. It tends to always happen when I'm traveling out that the weather gets terrible. But a lot happened this weekend. For instance, the moment I flew in, Microsoft bought out Activision Blizzard. Yeah, the company recently known for having cube crawl nonsense and everything out under the sun. Yeah, Microsoft bought them for like $70 billion. This might be one of the largest acquisitions I've ever seen. So, frankly, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you told young little Muda, hey, Halo and Call of Duty, they'd be owned by the same person, I think you're a liar. I think you're wrong. Yeah, now they're owned by the same. In fact, World of Warcraft 2, Diablo as well. Microsoft is deciding that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to buy every game development company under the sun. Crash Bandicoot? Get out of here, PlayStation. That belongs to me. Now, a lot of people have thrown the word monopoly out, but frankly, if Disney isn't considered a fucking monopoly, then Microsoft shouldn't be either. And if the figure surprises you, Microsoft is one of the most wealthiest tech companies in the world, and frankly, $70 billion is a fair amount for what is hundreds of millions of active users across multiple games like COD and World of Warcraft. It's just something to add to their big giant portfolio to show off to the other investors out there, like, look at what we got. But frankly, yeah, it's a big day for Xbox Game Pass. If you're a Game Pass user, it's only like a year now when they finally start putting the goddamn hub on there as a subscription premium option. A little bit of hentai haven, whatever you want to call. I think they shut that site down, but that's a whole different story. There was some Twitch streamer drama. Apparently, like some guy posted L plus ratio into like Pokemon's chat. I think the guy's name was Gideon, and he got like a 2-week ban. And I think he pushed a couple things and apparently got a lifetime ban. Anyways, the streamers got a little, there was a little crossfire going on. There were threats of lawsuits being tossed around. I think Ninja got into it somehow.
Frankly, the only reason I'm bringing this up is when I was stuck in the airport for what was like 13 goddamn hours. It's the only thing that was showing up on Twitter at all. Literally, this discourse was the only thing that I saw. Frankly, I think if you, hate raid, or I think what actually happened was Gideon had sent like his viewers type in like L plus L plus ratio or something into like Pokemon's chat. Got like a 2-week suspension because guess what? That is against TOS. That much I'm totally fine with. However, I think it got extended to like a permanent ban. I don't know whether he tried doing this on another platform or whatnot, but like if he literally had it up from a 2-week ban to a lifetime ban just for the L plus ratio, kind of a little bit questionable on like how excessive that one punishment is for, what is, I think, his first offense on Twitch. At the end of the day, I could not be fucked to care enough about the situation. I have one rule. If you break TOS on a site willfully, obviously it's against TOS, you break the rules, and you get banned for it. I tend not to give any sympathy for the situation whatsoever. Like, yeah, it sucks, but then again, I don't play Russian roulette with like 6 bullets in the goddamn chamber, let alone 1.
Let's get down to something more pressing and important than what is streamer drama and what is one of the largest acquisition in gaming history. A little good old vacation. Now, I went down to a good old Houston, Texas, which you might be wondering, but Muda, you're really gonna go down to Texas during the height of the pandemic? Yeah, Yeah, it did, because in Houston, Texas exists one of my two good friends, Max and Ryan Nexpo. Nick Crowley was supposed to meet us over there, but unfortunately he tested positive for COVID, so he couldn't really fly out, I guess, to like see us. And to be honest, let's get started with some of these like travels, okay? So if you ever want to travel to the United States from Canada, let me tell you the process, okay? Basically, I planned this trip like, I would say like a month and a half in advance, and it's just a weekend, but basically right now, when you're flying out, everything is contingent on the last 24 hours of you flying out. Because unless you test negative for COVID-19, they do not let you get on the plane. In fact, I don't think they don't even let you get on the plane, and they just drop your name in a registry. So it's like, yeah, for the next 5 or 6 days, this dumb fuck isn't allowed to fly. So yeah, basically the last 24 hours were the most stressful period. Like literally like Thursday last week, I was like going to a Shoppers Drug Market and like, they were like fingering my nose. Like I like stuck that shit in deep. And I waited like 10, 15 minutes. Like I was waiting for some cancer diagnosis, for fuck's sake. And the lady comes up, she's like, she has this like death stare on me, like, oh, I'm like, oh no, oh sweetie, you ain't gonna do this one. And she's like, you're negative. Why are you looking like that? Why are you all freaked out? That's like good news. We should be popping confetti. Anyways, once she gave me that, I decided I could pack, go at ease, and fly down to Texas. Now, when you come back from the United States to Canada, you have like a 72-hour window for your test to like be valid. So the window was like, as soon as I land at like 6:15 p.m. in Houston, I could just go and nasal swab myself and get out. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I think I found that in Texas, at least Houston, trying to get a goddamn PCR test for flying is like trying to find the Ark of the goddamn Covenant, okay? Once you land, I started Googling pharmacies. We don't have any reservations. We don't have any reservations. Reservations? What are those? And then everyone over there was like, brother, you getting a test for what? Like it was an insane ride. Literally the next day at like noon, I was like driving around the goddamn entire city of Houston for like 3 fucking hours trying to find a test. I found literally 2 options, okay? One by a 7-Eleven where like some homeless dude in a tent was just saying free tests for travel, marriages, and whatnot. Now I'm gonna tell you, if you ever think that I'm going to go into this shady tent with this one weirdo that's sticking things on my nose and giving me free tests for flying, you're an idiot. So that was obviously a no-no. I found this one like little tent set up like between a crack den and another crack den, and I like parked my car in there, and they came into the little swab really quickly, sent it into a lab. Next day it was like, you good to fly, you're fine. So anyways, that was like the whole restrictions, okay? But generally, the actual vacation was really cool. We landed it on Friday. I got to see a bunch of cool places around Houston. Saturday, I actually got to like Friday night, Ryan came over, Prox, and Max came over, and we just kind of like had a good time, vibing out, getting wasted together. Because let me tell you something about these guys. We're part of like this horror community, and we kind of like stick together in that regard, but like we are very much just like average memers at the end of the day. So we had like a good time. It was a small little gathering, and I finally got to meet some of my good old bros, which I haven't seen for like months on end. Well, not really months. I haven't seen them since like the whole VidCon thing in November. But that's a lot, okay? Especially in a time where we're so like isolated and separated from one another. It used to be where I could go down and like sort of meet these guys whenever I wanted. So it was like really fun to meet Ryan and really fun to meet Max, really fun to meet Prox. I wish I could have met Nick Crowley, but unfortunately, he tested positive. And that was just something that wasn't going to happen. Now, of course, Saturday, we kind of like went around. We got to see more of like Houston, which this was also the one time where like, I'll tell you right now, when you're putting in addresses in a goddamn GPS for the Houston city, okay, you better goddamn put the right address in. I was staying on a street called like Alabama something. So I clicked on the wrong Alabama in the GPS, and I like drove into Crack Den Alley. Like we're talking, it's the Costco of crack dealerships. You had like literally like 3 cars parked on the side, and like, tweakers were just going up there like, can I have some crack? Can I have crack? Can I have the most enterprising crack in the world? And like, they just rolled down the windows and gave it. And let me tell you, there was no cop for 15 minutes down in that area. Trust me, I was scanning around. I'm like, where's the police? Where's the 5-0? There was no 5-0. There was no one out there. Literally, before I had gotten onto the freeway to get out of that area,
Alabama Street, there was like this final raid boss level crackhead who like picked up the cane of crack plus 15, like literally picked up a goddamn pimp cane coming up to my car. And let me tell you, I don't want to admit to this, and I'll tell you right now, for context and legality's sake, never commit a never break a red light, never commit any traffic violations. This one, like, crackhead came up to the goddamn side of the road, picked up a pimp cane, like, we're talking a pimp cane, brother, and, like, started coming up to the goddamn car for a second. This isn't, like, this Alabama street, like, the end of it, just before the freeway. And I pray to God, like, I almost wanted to break the red light, but, like, part of me was like, don't do it, it's wrong, it's illegal. So luckily, as soon as that light hit green, I floored that car straight out of there. I felt like Michael goddamn Schumacher leaving into that. I like merged into that freeway harder than your mom and dad years ago when you were born. That's what I had to do. But frankly, Sunday was a sort of wind down day. I got to see more areas. And frankly, I experienced a Texas staple that everyone's been hyping up to me for like, what is years at this point? And it's goddamn Whataburger. I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? Whataburger is dog shit. And this might, like, I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, unsub, Muda hates, Muda doesn't like Whataburger. Muda's talking shit. Unsub. And yeah, I'm sorry, if you're gonna unsub over that, I totally get it. People are treating Whataburger like it's some national goddamn treasure, when in reality, it's like expensive, like, off-brand, like Burger King, like McDonald's, okay? Like, I tried it, it's whatever, and it's kind of like the South Park Tegrity Burger. Like, you just have to have, like, you have to be, like, really sufficiently out of your mind, like, you have to be on something before you eat this burger, because it's just not special. It's literally just goo, okay? That's all it is. Maybe I had bad Whataburger, I totally will admit that. But for a Texas staple, this was way overhyped. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. You got Jack in the Box and you got Chick-fil-A. Why you would not go to those two options and Whataburger? The only reason you would touch Whataburger is because it's open like 24/7. The moment I shit on it, people are like, but Muda, it's good if you're drunk. Well, guess what, okay? Dog shit tastes good if you're absolutely drunk and stoned too. Doesn't mean you should eat it, all right? Simple. Doesn't mean you should promote it and hype it up. So anyways, the flight back time came, and this is like when the whole weekend was wounded down. I checked in, I got through all of it early. I had like, security grab my balls for a little bit to do the security. I went through and I was sitting in the terminal. And surprisingly, the flight to Toronto got canceled because of that snowstorm I mentioned earlier. And I'm going to be honest with you, I got stressed. So they gave me like two options. We could just book you for a flight tomorrow out of Houston. But here's the problem. See, the PCR test that I took was about to expire if I took that flight in Houston. And given how terrible it is to get the goddamn test in Houston to fly in the first place, you could imagine how scared I was. So I was kind of arguing, can you like route me to like Los Angeles or something where I could like have the nose swabbed in like 20 minutes, have my result or something, and then fly out to like Toronto. Luckily, they flew me out to Washington, D.C. So totally unexpected. I got to see the Capitol for a little bit. I got into D.C. like literally at midnight. I got a car. I met Internet AJ at a bar. He was a pretty cool guy. Surprisingly, he's also as tall as me. You don't really know someone's height until you actually meet him in person. Pretty cool dude, pretty chill guy. Had a good time with him. But beyond Internet AJ, when I was leaving, I was running out of battery, so I had to stop at like the weirdest crack den CVS pharmacy to get a goddamn cable. And once I did, I noticed the Washington Monument, which is basically just like a giant pillar that like is really big. See, in the United States, you can just have like a giant pillar and it's like a national landmark and everything. So I ended up going down over there to like 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I found this old dude's house, which, I kind of Wojak pointed at. And overall, I had a good time. I will say, at 3 a.m, the Capitol is fucking dead. It's deader than the Fallout 3 version of the Capitol. And I left really quickly because when I started seeing like U.S. Secret Service vehicles, like, a couple of them... a couple of them around the block, I was like, maybe I should get back in my car and drive home right now. Maybe I should get back to the hotel. This is not good. But yeah, this morning, I finally was able to catch the flight connecting into Canada. I landed, and that's where we are. I'm literally home like 2 hours ago. I was at the airport, now I'm home, and now I'm relaxing. And now we're back to the usual grind, ladies and gentlemen. So tomorrow, I know this is a little old, but I'm investigating Logan Paul's $3.5 million Pokemon box debacle. Have a good time. This is me, Muda. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.